Tina here, and we're still talking bloating. So what we've talked about carbs. You've asked me about carbs. What other things, foods, can cause bloating? Well, let's talk about raw foods. Raw foods are a big contributor to bloating. So the nibbles that you have with drinks, which you think, oh well, I'll go for the vegetables because there's less calories in them. But they're raw vegetables and they're very hard for the stomach to digest. So blanching the vegetables is a good idea if you're putting the nibbles out. Slightly blanch the carrots and so on beforehand. The other thing is when you're having raw veg, if you're having a glass of cold white wine with it, chilled white wine, that's really a bad combo, because the chilled drinks, even chilled water when you're eating food, will it puts out what we call the digestive fire and the agony, and we don't want to do that. We want the digestive fire to be strong and robust to really digest all the food. But if you then have a glass of cold water or cold wine with your food as you're eating, it puts all the fire out. It actually puts everything to sleep again, if you imagine it like that. So if you're going to have a glass of wine, and I do a video that's about drinking alcohol, how do we work that out so that we can do it to mitigate the effects. But one of the things is not to drink white wine with food. So have your glass of wine or your glass of champagne before your food, and then give it 10 minutes and then start to eat. At least give it 10 minutes. That's a little trick. Anyway, so raw foods are a big no-no, and they're a big cause of, and I see children being given raw foods, and that really is not good for children. Food should be cooked and it should be moist and warm, especially as we enter into autumn and winter now. So try and avoid the salads. And it's interesting, if you look at the salads that's out in the supermarkets, then the price of salads go up in the winter because the yield is yet less from what we're growing in this country. So we're bringing it in from abroad. Well, that tells you that it's not just the price, that actually our soil, we're not growing things around that time for us. So have seasonal vegetables, and that will make a huge difference. But always try and cook your vegetables. It's not just protein that is strong and hard to digest. Raw vegetables are hard to digest too. Another area where you could look for that creates bloating, and this is another big one actually. So the raw foods is very big. The cold drinks with food is very big. And then nibbles. So you know, the sort of what I call rabbit food, like muesli, seeds, and that sort of stuff. It all is all very airy. So it's like eating like a rabbit, and that sort of food, light and airy food, and eating little snacks throughout the day. So we think that we're going to lose weight perhaps by not eating, you know, big meals, but you're just hungry an hour later and you need to eat a meal. Simple as that. So treat your food a little bit more sensibly, and have a breakfast if you're hungry, and don't if you're not. Have your lunch when you're hungry, and don't if you're not, and that sort of thing. But people don't realise that they have a little snack, and that is like putting a meal into the stomach. And if they're eating lots of little rabbit food, you will get rabbit poos. But if you have a nice, warm, moist, grounded food, you'll get proper poos at the end of it. So that's really important. So rabbit food, raw foods, they'll give you constipation, and they'll give you rabbit food, and they'll give you bloating and air in the large colon. So trying to remember that bit. Raw food, rabbit food will give you dry, hard poos. So you want to have moist, soft poos. Okay, right, enough about poo, because another video about that. The other thing that will help you is to try not to have so much complicated foods all the time. Yes, when we go out to a restaurant, it's lovely to have and to not think about diet and foods and what's healthy and what's not, and enjoy yourself. And that really should be applauded, and we should do that. But on a regular daily basis, that isn't, you know, we shouldn't be eating like kings every day. We should try to eat a little simply, and that means not putting so many ingredients into your meal. So, you know, I look at some of the recipes and they have, so for example, something like fish pie has lots of protein, so that's really not a great combo for your digestive system. So if you're having fish and milk and cheese, you've got 3 very, very strong proteins, and it's all very hard for the stomach to digest. So if you're having a meal, have 1 protein. If you have 1 protein type, 1 carb type, and a couple of vegetables, no more than 2 types of vegetables, and that's all you need. So a really good meal to encourage you to have would be something like, if you ate meat, would be like some roasted chicken, nice warm moist chicken with some roasted vegetables and some mashed potato or some roast potato. So roast dinner is actually a very good meal for you to eat. And you know, when we do eat a roast dinner, don't we all feel very satisfied after it? If we have a great big pudding afterwards, we may have overdone it, but you know, just the roast dinner on its own, it's a wonderful thing for your children, it's a wonderful thing for you. And the other thing is a stew, a warm stew, a dal, something with rice, something simple like that on a daily basis. Keep your food simple and don't eat raw foods. They're really not good for you.